And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Michael Tucker. And well, Michael, first of all, thanks for squeezing me into your calendar and being with me today.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so excited. Like I said previously, double Michael, double the fun. So let's make this a power class for them.
I love it. It's going to be awesome. So, Michael Tucker runs a company called The Funnel Pros. But what we're talking about today is really how can you run a really successful virtual event to grow your influence and your income fast? And Michael, I'm super stoked about this because I think people have this image that virtual events are not for me. They're for the big shots, the
Uh-huh.
Tony Robbinses of the world and things. Talk about the reality of virtual events and how entrepreneurs and business owners can really start taking advantage of them. As you first tell us, how in the world you get doing this?
Well, this is going to be really exciting because both of those questions go hand in hand. And I actually started out like most entrepreneurs searching for the thing, right?
Yeah,
The thing. What am I getting into? And so I found myself bouncing around from thing to thing to thing. And then eventually one of my friends and a mentor was like, Michael, I see you're trying a little bit of everything. How about I teach you real estate? Now, we're not here to teach you real estate today, but I was like, just to give you a little context, I just gotten married. I was working part-time as a youth minister. I was in college, and so I had very little money because college kids plus youth ministers, you're not making that big of a salary.
right.
So I had about $100 in my bank account, and he said, "Why don't I teach you real estate?" And I said, "You can teach me real estate with just $100 in my pocket." And he said, "Yeah, I could teach you." He said, here's the coaching package. And I said, I just told you I don't have much money. I can't really afford the coaching. And I think there was miscommunication there. But anyways, we ended up bartering services. So this is where my breakthrough in marketing and business really came through. And I encourage everybody to do this. But me and him were having a conversation. I said, okay, how about I help you with your marketing and your coaching business, and then you teach me real estate in return, and we'll go from there. And I tell you what, that was like the moment or the really time in my life that everything shifted, right? I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not like Michael, who knows marketing, right? I wasn't like a big savvy salesperson, marketing expert, but we just learned. And so I went to war with him to build that coaching business,
Yeah.
and it was horrible at first, right? And so some of those misconceptions that you were talking about that people have is like, I
Yeah.
have to have this big audience. That was us at the beginning, but we tried it anyway. And we failed at first, but here's a little sneak peek into the future of that time was that we ended up growing that business to $750,000 in 10 months. And here's
Wow.
the kicker. Yeah, that's a lot of people respond that way. And here's the kicker. No ads, less than 300 people on his email list, um, only a few hundred people on social media. You're like, Michael, how in the world did you guys make that much? That's what I'm going to dive into today. But out of this experience and going through that journey, I wholeheartedly believe now, and I believed it back then too, that anybody can implement a virtual event if done right and go make some money, make some more impact, and increase your influence. So that was the start, was bartering services with my real estate coach.
That's very cool. So yeah, now you've got us intrigued because that's a lot of money in a short period of time, right? And especially when you talk about no ads and less than 300 less, because that's really, I think business owners get so burnt and frustrated because they're chasing shiny objects. They're spending money on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever, but they don't really know what they're doing. And they haven't thought about really connecting with somebody like you to say, okay, a virtual event, I'm a financial advisor, I'm an attorney, that's nobody's going to show up. Let's talk about when you say virtual event, let's talk about what are you talking about for the common business owner who's out there? How in the world would I do that? And yeah, let's just unpack this because this is a whole different realm of marketing and building credibility, right?
Yeah. And the good thing about it is there's so many different types of virtual events, right? And you see them out there. And so we could go on and on all day about the different types. And so whenever David, my real estate coach, and myself, we started this, we actually started doing like webinars or like online seminars and master classes because this was like 5 years ago. And so that's what we thought everybody was doing. Like everybody was doing these webinars, and we thought that's what we needed to do. And so actually to give you a little insight, I remember building this out. It took weeks to build out our first one. We set it up. We did all the emails, the fancy funnels, the automations, and we ran the class. And I remember we ran the class, the content was awesome, and then we went to make the pitch, and I kept hitting the refresh button on the computer, and no sales were coming in. That first class, I was like, "We done everything you're supposed to, right? We hit the sales, nothing, or hit the refresh button, nothing." And so actually, we use webinars and master classes, but that first one was a total failure. So
Yeah.
if you're here and you've had that same experience, it's okay. You could start from somewhere, or you can start somewhere like that, like we did. But you know what? We actually had a mentor, Mike, that came to us. He said, "I love what you guys are doing." And actually, at the time, he wasn't a mentor; he was just a friend. And he reached out and said, "I love what you guys are doing." He's like, "But I want you to try this other way of doing virtual events." And so what we did is we met with this friend of ours who eventually became our mentor, but a friend, just an hour in Zoom. And this is the power of mentorship, right?
Mhm.
Power of tacking on and locking arms with somebody like Michael and the Paperback Experts team, right? Somebody like that. There's power in it. And so we sat down for an hour and he taught us this new framework at the time, which was new, which was like a 5-day challenge. Now, if you're not in like the digital marketing online space a lot, you're like, Michael, what the heck is a 5-day challenge? What's it, just a 5-day virtual event? And so he
Okay.
taught us how to structure that. And we said, okay, we're going to take imperfect action. And we went and did it. And we did it to his very small list, his very small audience. We had some people show up, but we did it. In that first event, we made $30,000. And
Wow.
this was big for me because I was, remember, part-time youth minister. I was in college and I was serving tables on the weekends. I made $30,000 a year, and we just made that in 5 days.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. And so there's many different virtual events, but we started harnessing the power of these 5-day virtual experiences
Hmm.
and just building those out really well. And the first one we made that 30,000. The second one we made 100. Third one we made like 200 and something thousand dollars. Fourth one I think it was like 3 to $400,000, and it kept building and building and building. Now, that's a high level overview, right? There was a lot of things we learned
Yeah.
in between and a lot of strategies, but I hope that answers your question.
Well, it does, because anybody can do these, and I've seen some of the 5-day challenges and things, and you've got to do what Michael just talked about. Is you've got to learn from a mentor, somebody who's perfected the pathway,
Yep.
and then you have to take, I love it, imperfect action. So my phrase around all of that is done beats perfect every time.
Hmm.
Let's get out there, and my theory in life, I guess, Michael, is there's no such thing as failure. There are only results. And so you did the first one, you got some results. You're like, well, that didn't work out really well. Let's go do something else. But you kept trying, but your mentor helped you. So let's talk about how, is it always a 5-day event? Is it a 5-day challenge? And I love how you actually put it in there. I think you said called it a 5-day experience.
Yep.
And that's really part of what we're trying to do with our prospects, our audience, is give them an experience so they connect with us at a heart level, at a deeper level, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's you hit it on the head because a lot of people think they're just events. But like
Yeah.
you said, we're actually taking people on a journey.
Yeah.
Where that journey is, their dream goals and their dream destination. That's the
Yeah.
journey we're taking them towards. And so when we tell our people, because you ask is like the 5-day virtual events the only ones we do? No, it depends on the person, the client, like how much time you have. Because like the 5-day virtual experiences are great from taking people from cold leads to hot customers. And
Mhm.
you can really, the reason why I love it is really take their trust to another level with you. Because if you, here's a question for your audience. If you ran a 1 hour webinar and somebody comes, there's a little trust built, right? But what would happen if they spent 5 days with you? Like, let's
Yeah.
imagine that's 8 to 10 hours with you. That trust is going to be a lot higher. And that's why we love those events. And but ultimately, it's building out a transformational experience where we step back. And this is advice for you guys. And I think you do this very well with your team. You step back and ask, where's my potential customers at now? What are they experiencing? What are they feeling?
Yeah.
And then, but where do they want to go? And we use those events to get them closer to their goals. So, for example, if they're wanting to lose 50 pounds, we're not going to help them lose 50 pounds in 5 days, but we
Right.
can help them lose five,
Yeah.
right? And so we put things in place to help them take action, stay accountable, and experience new ways of thinking to get them closer to their goals so that at the end of the event, we make an offer, an opportunity for them to join us and get the remainder of the way in their journey, to travel the rest of the way
Yeah.
in their journey. So, yeah, great. You hit it right on the head, my friend.
Well, thank you. No, I think it's great because I'm speaking. I mean, I do a lot of work with financial advisors and attorneys and things of that nature. And I think they look at this, 5-day challenge and they're like, I don't know how I would ever use that.
Right.
And I'm sitting here going, what if you structured a 5-day journey or experience around planning the perfect retirement?
That's exactly. Can I talk about that?
Jump
Because
in there.
we actually, one of my very first clients, it wasn't David, but right after that, so we built this massive machine that was working so well and people started to notice. And one of our next clients after that is a financial advisor. And so this
Okay.
is perfect because he realized he had a pretty, I'm not going to say super small, but he had like a couple hundred people that followed him pretty strongly. They looked to his advice and he said, "Hey, I can implement this too." And so what he did is he crafted a 5-day virtual experience teaching people how to use life insurance to grow their income and protect their wealth, how, where to place your money, which I'm just making this up, which
Right.
index
Yeah.
funds, right? Things of that nature. And he walked them through his preferences. Now, they weren't his clients, so he there was disclaimers there stating this
Right.
is just teaching, but he did, and then at the end made an offer people to come book a call to work with his team, and
Good.
people it was crazy the conversions on that because people were like, oh, this person is now the expert in my eyes. They
Yeah.
just taught me 5 days worth of information. There's no one else that knows more than them. And so, yeah, this is perfect because if you're an attorney, same thing. You could teach people, walk them through a few days, or it could be even just an hour class if you want to start out small, but how to set up a living trust,
Right.
how to set up your wills, right? All these things, and then funnel them through. This is just a funnel to get them to become your customers.
It is, yeah, and the cool thing is, and I love to pick your brains just a little bit because everybody says 5-day challenge, and the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I don't have 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'm sure there's a different things, but it is the consistency over time is one of my marketing, philosophies. And what you're doing, you're kind of shrinking it, but to go, you can come to my 1 hour webinar, or maybe we do a 1 hour experience for the next 5 days to teach you from here
Yep.
to there. Is that more along the lines of what you're thinking when you say a 5-day? Unpack that a little bit, and am
Yeah.
I on the right track?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. So the 5-day virtual experiences, how we run those is we just push, you can sell these. So you can like sell it for like $100 to, we
Mm,
even sell sometimes up to $500 for these. Or you can give it away and just have people opt into them for free. Okay. If you want to just collect some leads, have people register with their email, phone, name, and then they can join, right? It
yeah,
just depends on your level of experience. If you're just starting out like David, whenever we were growing his real estate coaching business, he didn't have any leads. So he said, let's just run a bunch of free ones to get a lot of interest and get some new contacts inside your CRM. Now, we do have some higher level people like Tony Robbins. We don't have him, never worked with Tony, but
right,
people like that have massive followings where we do charge because
right,
people who pay attention, right?
right.
But what we do is we do free, and then what we do is a Monday through Friday. It's just 1 hour a day. We normally do the evenings, 1 hour a day for 5 days straight. So it's not like you're going out 24 hours a day for 5 days straight, just 1 hour. This is like the basic level. You could go 1 hour a day for 5 days straight. If you want to add on like an extra ticket tier, like where people can upgrade and like get a VIP ticket and they get
Oh,
some
yeah,
Q&A access with you, maybe throw on a 30 minutes of Q&A every day after or even before the session starts. So
yeah,
it make it an hour and a half per day. And that's what we do. You just teach. And now it's not just content, okay? Because a lot of people, they think, oh, so I'm just supposed to teach for 5 days straight. No, you need to be a little bit more methodical like that than that,
yeah,
right? You need to step back and think about their needs, right? We talked about that already.
yep,
Talk about the journey. But you got to remember a lot of these people are coming in with a lot of misconceptions implanted in their mind. There a lot of self-limiting beliefs, and they won't call them self-limiting
right,
beliefs because they don't know what that means, right? But a lot of times people come in thinking that a book is too hard to write. They
yeah,
come in thinking that a book is old, right? And nobody reads books anymore. They're gonna come in thinking all these silly thoughts when you know that's not true. And so
right.
it's your responsibility to transform their mind and their thinking to what it needs to be. And so just remember, it's not just 5 days of teaching. You need to be really methodical on how you can help them overcome those hurdles so they can get closer to their goals and closer to becoming your customer.
Yeah, and that's good. And I want to, number one, I'm going to put a plug, make sure, and we're going to have the links to Michael's website and stuff in the show notes. But it's super, super critical what you just said, and just rewind the tape and listen to what he just said, because you're educating, you're nurturing,
Hmm.
you're selling, but you got to know that structure up front of every. I got 5 days of content, right? What am I doing in each of those days? How am I addressing those mental barriers? How am I helping them get through them? How am I letting them have big or little wins every day? That's structure, and dare I say, the normal business guy just ain't going to be able to do that by themselves, right? They need somebody like you. They need that mentor that already has done this just a few dozen times, right? To say, here's what we're thinking about. Let's start small. Let's do this for the first one. Is that a fair summary of where most people are? It seems to me that there's so much here that it just stops me in my tracks when if I
Yeah,
just
and
reach
you
out
can,
and say,
yeah, you can make this
right?
as complex as
Yeah,
you want.
don't.
You can have all the email secret. You can have, I've had people do this so simple where they just go live on Facebook for 5 days straight, right? And so
Yeah.
you can make it as simple as complex as you want. But yeah, it can be a little daunting when you're first getting into it.
Yeah. Um, I love that idea. But keep it simple. One of my marketing strategies is simplicity, because most of us are so busy running our business, and we're not tech gurus. We're not marketing guys. So this is a strategy. And I guess that's one thing I want to talk a little bit about. This is not as much a shiny object, a purple pill. You do one event.
Right.
This is a strategy that you can actually implement once a month, once a quarter, something like that on an ongoing basis. Fair?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It just depends on your marketing strategy, of course. I know Michael has some great marketing tips and tools for you guys. So yeah, depending on your marketing strategy, we have some clients that do this every month. We have some that do it 3 to 4 times a year, and some of them they just do it once a year, right? But yeah, it can be duplicatable. And so, for a little tip, because I know we don't have much time here today, but some people you're probably wondering, wait, I still don't understand how David was able to do $750,000 when he had no
Mm,
list. He was doing it multiple times, but once you run out of traction with a list of only 200, 300 people? Yes. But what you can do is, and this is what David and I discovered, you can just run the same 5 day virtual experience to other people's audiences.
yep.
So you could go into Michael, his audience. You can go into your friend Brian's audience. As long as the content can pertain to that person's audience, you can go in and you be the teacher and
Yep.
you run the event to other people's audiences and you guys just split profits, you split commissions. So that's what we did. The first one for David made $30,000. Awesome. We knew we couldn't duplicate that again with ourselves. But
Right.
we asked, who can we partner with that our message would benefit their audience? And so we found actually he teaches real estate.
Yep.
So we found somebody who teaches budgeting. So what happens once you get your budget under wraps? You start investing, right? And so we said, hey, for all your people, once they get done budgeting, we'll teach them how to invest in real estate. And we made hundreds of $1,000s off that one partnership
Yep.
just because we taught them and the other person just brought the audience. So for you guys, like I'm just thinking already, bro, like for you, especially with the paperback stuff, you guys could partner with speaking coaches. You could partner with all kind people like me. You could partner with because my
Yeah.
people need to know how to write books and things of that nature. And so partner with those people and just do the same event, just over and over and over again to those audiences. So I just wanted to tie that loose end because I know there's people out there saying,
Dude,
how in the world do you do that? Strategic partnerships are one of the best ways you can grow your influence, impact, and income right now in this digital age.
100%. And the cool thing is, you don't pay until the back end, until somebody buys.
Exactly.
So, and the upside is, again, this is a hit the rewind, go back and re-listen to what he said, because a lot of business owners, they don't get strategic partnerships like what you just explained, and we've built our business on them, right? There are lots of people who do this, and it's so good because if you're a financial advisor, you could do this to the list of the attorney, and
Yep.
vice versa. Local CPAs, right? Everybody has clients and lists. The question is, what are you doing to grow your business in a very strategic way that's different from everybody else? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. And a great way to do that is to connect with Michael because we all know, yeah, having a book is great, positions you as an authority. The other great way to be positioned as an authority is to speak, to
Yep.
be that person that says, hey, today we are going to interview Michael Tucker. Guess what? He's the expert, he's got the spotlight. And that's what you get when you're doing a 5-day challenge like this. When you're doing a virtual event to your list or to somebody else's, you're the expert, you're the go to guy.
Yep.
And that's how you start building this traction and enlarging your list and your impact, right?
100%. I'm not even going to say anything else because you said it exactly the way it needed to be said.
Well, I appreciate that. Anything I've missed because I want to give you the last portion here to wrap things up and let us know how can people get more information because I really believe, Michael, that this is something that a lot of my audience should at least look at doing. And
Yeah.
where do
No,
they go? What do they
there's
do?
many different ways. I was just gonna say I'm a very personable guy. I love chatting with people. I love messaging people. So you can find me on any social media. I'm there on Instagram at official Michael Tucker. You guys can go follow me. Just let me know. Like say, hey, I came over from Mike's podcast. I would love to relay the message to him and let him know. But also I have a free book you guys can go check out. Literally, there's no sales on it or anything. It's just there for you guys to consume. It's kind of summary of everything we just said in a written form. And so you guys can go to virtualstagesecrets.com and it's there. Virtualstagesecrets.com. Download the free PDF book and you guys can go ahead and start actually implementing this today.
I love that. And I'm gonna grab both of those links. I'm gonna have them in the show notes because you're out doing business and everything. But I want you to go do that. Virtualstagesecrets.com is the website for the free book because that's going to allow you to take that next step with Michael and to really consume this and to start thinking, how can I use a virtual event in the next 12 months to grow my revenue and business? I think that'd be a great question to ponder. Read the book, reach out to Michael, have the conversation. And I think he's going you've heard from this conversation, but I think he's going to turn on some light bulbs for you and put you in a new position to really expand your message, impact more people, grow your revenue, and do it in a really fun way cuz dude, we can all talk about our business all day long, right?
100%. 100%. So fun.
Well, Michael Tucker, thank you for being here. I love the concept. I love the value that you brought to the audience, and it's a new, dare I say, it's a new way of marketing. It's an old way of marketing, but you package it in such a way that makes it accessible. And I think I could almost do this, right? And that's where we really want people. So I'll have the links. Go check out the links, but reach out to Michael Tucker and see how he can help you grow your business. Michael, thank you, man. Thanks for being my guest on Expert Speak.
Hey, thank you so much. Excited to connect further. And guys, listen, dive into all these episodes. There's one gem out of each episode you could take. It would be so much worth it. So go back through, re-listen to this, but go check out all his other podcasts. They're amazing. And thank you, Michael, for again having me on the show.
Brother, you're welcome. It's been so good. Take care. Thanks for listening to Expert Speak. Tune in again next week.